This week we have Mercury the Messenger turning to retrograde motion in the sign of Sagittarius. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for the week of Monday, November 3rd through Sunday, November 9th, 2025. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger here with your intuitive energy forecast for the week. For this week's message, we're going to be using a brand new tarot deck I just purchased called the Star Tarot by Kathy McLellan. That's going to be the main message for everyone. Your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Angel Prayers Divination deck or Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. But before we get into looking at those stones of choice or talking about the week's energy, let's go ahead and close our eyes and do an empowered moment. So as you close your eyes, take a deep breath. And as you exhale, you're relaxing your body and clearing your mind of all thoughts. Just being in this present moment, the here and now. Quieting the mind. Because this week we have a Mercury retrograde happening in the busy, expansive sign of Sagittarius. So in our meditation here, we're going to focus on quieting the mind, not allowing us to feel overwhelmed or stuck or anxious or redirected from our path. We're just going to breathe into this center, our center. Taking a deep breath, breathing in calm and peace. And as you exhale, imagining roots growing out of the soles of your feet and into Earth, Mother Gaia, to help to ground your body, your mind, your energy field. Taking another deep breath, slow, deep breath. Exhaling, relaxing all of your muscles and tendons and the cells in your body. Visualizing golden white light of peace and healing all around you. And visualizing emerald green light of healing all around you. And focusing on the idea, the energy of peace. Peace is your mantra for the week. I am in a state of peace. I welcome the peace that comes to me. I am peace. And with that, let's take one last deep, healing, cleansing, and balancing breath. As you exhale, when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and return to this time and place and space. And let's get ready to look at our stones of choice for this week. So these are all special intention pendants. You can find them on my website along with a number of other ones. And the first one here is Green Apple Aura Quartz. And this one's wrapped in gold wire. Look at how reflective it is. So it's wrapped in gold wire and it's Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 9, the number of unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness. It has infused into it the energies of Neptune, planet of higher states of consciousness and the connection to the angelic realms. The opening and balancing of the heart chakra to clear out old emotional wounds and traumas. Increased connection with our inner child for inner nurturing and healing of our inner self. And it's infused with the energies of Archangel Raphael, the Archangel of healing, healing the emotional body as well as the physical body. And it also has Goddess Kuan Yin infused into it, the goddess of compassionate healing, who helps to mend broken hearts and provides emotional comfort in times of need. Okay, and our second stone of choice, this is Larimar. It's a light blue. This one's a really light sky blue kind of color. And the Larimar is wrapped in silver wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of Master number 33, number of Christ consciousness and increased psychic and healing abilities. The energies of the sign of Pisces, sign of universal healing, and the sign that helps dissolve blockages from this and previous lifetimes. The energies of the element of water for fluidity, creativity, and intuition. And Archangel Raphael's energy again, Archangel of healing of the emotional body and opening of the heart chakra. Archangel Raziel also has his energies in this pendant, energy of alchemy and magic, and the energies of the divine feminine and the power of the priestess are infused into this. And Larimar is also known as a stone that's associated with the dolphins and with ancient Atlantis. All right, and then our last stone of choice. This is yellow fluorite. This is a yellow fluorite cabochon, meaning it's got a nice flat back to it. And this one's wrapped in silver wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 3, the number of expansion, creative self-expression, and abundance. The energy of Gemini, sign of new thoughts and ideas. The energy of the planet Neptune, planet of spiritual creativity, imagination, and intuition. The activation of the solar plexus chakra for increased confidence and courage. And this one has the energies of Archangel Gabriel, the archangel that assists one in speaking and guiding, and usually with a life purpose that involves the communication or the arts. So that could be speaking, teaching, writing, or the arts. So again, our stones of choice are the apple aura, the Larimar, or the yellow fluorite. All right, so let's set those aside. Let's talk about the astrology for the week. There's actually a lot going on this week, and with how it was laid out as I was, studying that and getting ready to pull cards, which we'll get to in a minute, it seems to highlight similar to last week. If you watched last week's video, I kind of pulled a card for, I think, Venus and Mars and then Mercury, because those were the highlighted planets. And it's the same this week. They're making different aspects, but those planets are still very much highlighted. And these are called the personal planets, meaning they govern or rule over personal day-to-day situations in our lives. Venus, love and relationships, as well as money and finances. Mars is about energy, action, forward movement, leadership, decisions. Mercury is the ruler of the mental realm, thoughts, ideas, perceptions, perspectives, and communications. So when we get to those cards a little bit later, I did the same thing because they guided me to do that, pulling one card for each of the planets. But let's talk about the astrology. So on Monday, the 3rd of November, we start out with Venus, planet of love and relationships, in her home sign of Libra, which is, again, the sign of balanced and in equal partnerships. But she's in a difficult inconjunct to Saturn. And Saturn is the great teacher of karmic lessons. So there's needing to be some adjustments in our lives. We need to make adjustments in our relationships in order to release and let go of old karmic patterns, old stories that we've carried with us, that we tell ourselves, that we keep repeating. And so again, Venus in Libra wants that equality and that harmony and that equal give and take. So with this inconjunct to Saturn, she's needing again to make these adjustments where she has different fears or anxieties or insecurities. She needs to remember that this is an old pattern, an old subconscious pattern, something that, either started in childhood or restarted in childhood because it was carried from a different, other lifetime experience. So this is about kind of taking responsibility in a very aware kind of way as to what those patterns are within us, and to allow or kind of involve ourselves in a healing process. And then also on Monday, the 3rd of November, we have Mars, planet of energy, action, and forward movement in Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign and Mars is a fiery planet. So Mars's energy is a little bit watered down at this point, but he's very passionate, very fixed, very determined in the sign of Scorpio. And it's in a positive connection to Neptune, ruler of the spiritual realm in Pisces, another water sign. So we have a lot of water energy here, which is definitely about our intuition and psychic abilities and empathic abilities. Scorpio happens to be about our subconscious, and again, those old patterns or the aspects of the shadow self, whereas Pisces, where Neptune is, rules more of the angelic realm or the higher spiritual realms, the realms of the intangible and the unseen. But this is a positive connection. So I feel like whereas Mars would normally take action and make something happen, this is kind of a different energy because they're both in water. So I think we can activate creativity, and I think we can activate intuition. I think our dreams are being activated, our nighttime dreams. And definitely we're being activated as far as being much more empathic, feeling other people's emotions and thoughts than we normally would be. So that, again, it's a great time, though, to involve yourself in spiritual pursuits like meditation or art or some sort of creative project. And then on Tuesday, the 4th of November, Mars now moves out of Scorpio and into the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So now we have a fire planet in a fire sign, and Mars will be in Sagittarius until December 15th. So now the energy of Mars is shifting. The energy is much more expansive, freedom-oriented, inspirational, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, really like moving fast, because Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign, meaning it's ever changing and it's going in many different directions at once. And I just feel like it's kind of full steam ahead at that point, and really, again, expanding into new horizons, kind of exploring what's beyond what we've been immersed in over the past few weeks and months. And then right after it moves into Sagittarius on the same day, Tuesday the 4th, Mars will be opposing Uranus, the Great Awakener, the planet that rules change and redirection and liberation, which is still at this point in Gemini. In fact, Mars is at 0 degrees of Sagittarius and Uranus is at 0 degrees of Gemini. So this is a critical degree. It's an initiation degree. So I feel like we're going to be initiating all kinds of new ideas and thoughts and prospects and opportunities. And so if there's ever a day this week to initiate something and go for it, I think it's going to be Tuesday. And then on Thursday, the 6th of November, we're back to Venus. And Venus is making some difficult aspects. She's still in Libra, so she's still looking for balance and harmony in relationships and in financial matters as well. But she's in a difficult inconjunct to Neptune in Pisces to start out the day. And this is going to be needing to, again, make some adjustments with how you're viewing or perceiving a relationship, and not wearing rose-colored glasses and not overly romanticizing something, but yet still being in a state of unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness within our relationships and partnerships. So there's a lot of kind of adjusting that needs to be done. And after she makes that aspect, she actually moves out of the sign of Libra and she moves into Scorpio, the next sign of the zodiac. She's going to be in Scorpio until November 30th. And Venus in Scorpio is very magnetic, because Venus is a sign of, Venus is a planet of attraction and blessings. And Scorpio is very magnetic. So in a sense, we're able to magnetize blessings to ourselves. we're able to attract that which we desire, because Scorpio rules desire. So it's definitely using the Venus energy in a little bit different way. And right after she moves into Scorpio, and we're still in Thursday, the 6th of November, she's going to be making a difficult inconjunct to Uranus in Gemini. And so here again, Venus in Scorpio is, what do I want to say? She's sensual and seductive, and she is mysterious. But then comes along this connection to Uranus and Gemini, which is very flitty and flirty and liberating and freedom oriented and kind of just bopping all over the place. So again, we're going to have to make some adjustments there. This is about, I think, higher communication with Uranus and Gemini, and the higher communications have to be within relationships. And so Venus in Scorpio wants to dig down deep and wants to be very real and authentic and maybe even overly honest, a little bit, what do I want to say? What's the word? Vulnerable in a sense, and just really discussing her feelings. But then Uranus and Gemini is very surface kind of communication, and again, it's hopping from one thing to another. So we need to make some adjustments. If you're wanting to, move through a relationship in a certain manner, but your partner is on a different page, you just kind of have to go with the flow and make those adjustments. Don't judge it. Don't get, upset about it, and just move through it. This can also be about money and finances, because Venus is a planet that rules money and finances, and she's in one of the money signs, Scorpio. So this again is having like revelations, new ideas that kind of come in or get downloaded from a higher source. And, maybe the adjustment is not necessarily jumping on something so quickly and too soon until you do the research, because Scorpio is a sign of doing research. And so we might need to do that before we jump into something. Okay, and then on Friday the 7th, we have Uranus moving out of Gemini, but instead of moving forward, it has been retrograde in Gemini. So it is retrograding back into Taurus, and it stays in Taurus, the sign of the bull, until April 2026. I think it's April 25th. And so this is a good long time that Uranus, one of those generational planets that rule the collective evolution of humanity, is dipping back into this previous sign, just like Neptune in Pisces right now. It started out in Aries a few weeks ago, right? Because it was moving forward. It finally got into Aries, and then it went retrograde, and now it's retrograding into that last degree of Pisces. So this evolution and growth on a collective level, there's something yet that we have to internalize, understand. We need to realign our bodies, minds, and energy fields in such a way as these planets are retrograde. But also on a collective level, we're revisiting some old things. We're needing to revisit old patterns on a collective level, old stories that the collective has lived or is telling itself, basically. So this is the bigger picture of what's happening around the world. And so until Neptune goes back to direct motion, moves back into Aries, until Uranus goes direct motion and moves back into Gemini. And again, this will be by late spring that I think they'll both be there. And then we'll have Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, not to mention Saturn, which will move back into Aries in early 2026 as well. We'll have all those slower moving planets that rule a lot of the collective reality that we live in, moving back into that next sign where they have been, but then now are revisiting the sign previous to finish up some old, I'd say, awarenesses, understandings, karmic lessons, and again, resolving old patterns. And then also on Friday the 7th, we have Venus in Scorpio. Remember, Venus has been highlighted. She was in a difficult connection to Saturn on Monday, a difficult connection with Neptune, and then a difficult connection with Uranus on Thursday. Now she's in a difficult connection to Pluto on Friday. She's in a square to Pluto. And Pluto can be about power and control issues or disempowerment, death and rebirth, transformation, regeneration. Scorpio, where Venus is the sign that Pluto rules. So a similar energy. And because this is a challenging connection between the two of them, there can be maybe some power and control issues within our relationships. And that can be romantic relationships, family friendship, but also business relationships, because Venus is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is one of those signs that does rule like other people's money and resources, and hence business situations. So watch for some power and control issues, but also be open and calling in, if you will, this death and rebirth of energies that's surrounding you. In other words, releasing an old pattern and rebirthing yourself into something new. Especially, this is about taking back your power. That's what Pluto or Scorpio is about. So let's take back our power and own our power in a positive and proper way. And let's, be determined to move forward in a positive way with this energy. And then on Sunday the 9th, this is when Mercury comes into play. Mercury rules the mental realm. He's the messenger. He rules thoughts and ideas and perceptions and perspectives and communications, information, messages. And Mercury turns to retrograde motion at 6 degrees of Sagittarius on Sunday the 9th. And it is in Sagittarius. Did I write down the date for when it turns direct or when it's in Sagittarius? I think this is when it turns direct, is on November 29th, because I don't think it's going to be through Sagittarius quite yet. But it is going to retrograde back into Scorpio too. So through this month of November, it starts at 6 degrees Sagittarius. It's retrograding back into Scorpio. So we're going to be revisiting, reevaluating, revising things that have to do with both the Scorpio energy, power, research, transformation, as well as Sagittarius, optimism, expansion, freedom, new horizons. Now, because it's retrograding on Sunday the 9th, that means it's really slowing down from the beginning of this week. And in fact, it's been in its shadow since, I think it's October 22nd was when Mercury went into its shadow. So we've already been seeing maybe miscommunications or missed meetings or mishaps in technology, things with our phones and computers and things like that not going well. Travel delays also is part of that, missed messages. So, again, there's a slowdown here, but it's slowing down in Sagittarius. So either things are getting a little quiet, because that often happens when Mercury slows down to a standstill before it turns to retrograde motion, or because it's in Sagittarius, which is a very fiery, changeable, busy sign of the zodiac. Maybe we're going to have an overwhelming amount of things going on, and our mind is going to be a little anxious and overwhelmed. I don't know. We'll have to see. And it probably depends on where it's landing in your chart. All right, so that's a little bit about the astrology. Let's go ahead and take a look at the messages from our new tarot deck, the Star Tarot. All right, so this is how we did it. First, I asked to draw a card about all the Venus stuff, Venus ruling relationship and money and finances. And the card that came out was Major Arcana 20, and that's the Judgment card. And, this is the second to the last of the Major Arcana. So we're getting towards the end of the soul journey regarding something. This is a call to attention. This is a rebirth. You can see the rebirth here with the Phoenix up above. This is about a reckoning. This is a pretty heavy-duty card. It often deals with some past life situations that we have to review and understand these lessons that have come in, and it's time to release them and let them go so that we can move forward. It's not about judging other people or being judged by others, but it is sort of like what you sow, so you reap. That's the kind of judgment, if you want to use that word. So it's kind of like, what have you put out as far as energy over the last few weeks, months, years, your lifetime? It's like you're reaping what you've sown. You still have to learn these particular lessons, but it is time to, again, kind of rebirth yourself before we get to the end of a soul journey with the World card, which would be the last of the major arcana. Again, whether this be in relationship matters, where there's, again, some karmic past life stuff going on, or whether it be in financial situations or money matters, or how you look at abundance and money because of Venus, and that's the card that this is for Venus. And she makes that difficult aspect to Saturn, difficult aspect to Neptune, difficult aspect to Uranus, challenging aspect to Pluto. And so she's kind of going through the ringer right now. And all of those planets are considered those slow-moving collective generational sort of planets. They're about evolution and growth, and not just on a collective level, but evolution and growth on a soul level as well. So this is a pretty heavy-duty indicator, but I love that there's like rainbow energy. This is kind of indicating, I feel like, that you are on the right path, that you have done the work, that you're moving forward towards this idea of rebirth, as the rainbow kind of bridge, so to speak, here is leading to this rebirth with the phoenix. And there's also, gosh, it looks like a bear. I'm not sure. I'd have to like look it up because this is a brand new deck, but the bear looks like it's within the phoenix. And bears often can be associated with the Wheel of Fortune, which is about kind of something new coming up. The wheel is spinning and shifting, the wheel of fate. Like there's something new and fated that is coming up. And I only think of that because in my Animal Wise Tarot, the Wheel of Fortune is the bear. I'm not saying that it is in all the tarot decks, but it is in the deck that kind of came into my mind in the Animal Wise Tarot. But the bear is powerful, right? The bear is a powerful symbol, and so is the phoenix. But the bear is more grounded, and the phoenix is more spiritual. So if you kind of put those together, it's like there's a powerful spiritual realignment going on, a powerful spiritual realignment that's going to be leading to more of a powerful physical, material world realignment, because the bear to me is more earthly, whereas the phoenix, of course, is more spiritual. We definitely have our ancestor guides leading us along. We've got this Native American woman here. Maybe it's a man, but this to me would be that we have our guides, our ancestors are definitely with us. We're able to kind of rise over these mountains of challenges to get to this wonderful rainbow of hope and prosperity. And it's even like the sun is kind of lifting us. So the light of the sun, the light of the universe, is lifting us up to allow us to move forward. So this is a really great card, actually. But with Venus's aspects being a little challenging, I think we might feel challenged, but we're going to push through that, because this to me is saying that we are rising above all of that. Okay, let's put that down. And the next card, I asked to give me a card for Mars, and Mars was that planet of energy and action and forward movement, and he moves into fire sign Sagittarius, the sign of freedom and liberation and optimism and expansion and inspiration, and then also opposes Uranus, the Great Awakener. So the card we got for Mars is the Prince of Swords, and I almost expected to see a fire card, a wands card, because Mars is a fire planet and Sagittarius is a fire sign. But we get an air card. The swords is the suit of air. But Uranus is in air sign Gemini. And Uranus is one of those evolutionary planets. It's bigger and, I guess, in a sense, more powerful than Mars the warrior. And so it kind of overtakes that fire, but fire and air together make bigger fire. So the Prince of Swords is full of ideas and thoughts and revelations and messages come in. And you can see all that with the birds flying around, and we've got some sort of moth creature kind of flying around here. The Prince of Swords is wielding his sword. So he's like ready and raring to go. It's like, here's the new idea, here's the new thought, here's the new perception. And all of this information is coming in order to be acted upon. And he's acting upon it for sure. This is like the page, okay? So the page is about learning, so there might be some education here attached to this. There might be some sort of learning curve or education, reading, researching on some level, and coming into, receiving these messages from spirit and the divine. We also have what looks like kind of like a compass, almost like all these ideas and the messages that are coming in, and we have to kind of sort through them because there's a lot of them. With Uranus being in Gemini, there'd be a lot of messages, especially being activated by Mars right now. And so we have to kind of sort through them and figure out, what direction do I want to take this? What direction do I want to go? Where is this leading me? What is my true north? And so knowing what my true north is going to help me to know which idea, thought, download, inspirational message I'm supposed to follow up on. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that comes through here. Okay, I just very drawn to the red here, and red is an activation color. So again, it's root chakra color, right? And this is about our sense of security and stability, but red also kind of activates. It activates our mind, it activates our body, it activates energy. So I just feel like there's a high activation level going on right now in the mental body realm with the Prince of Swords. And then the last card, I asked for a card for Mercury, the messenger, turning to retrograde motion in Sagittarius. And the card we get is the Eight of Wands. And so remember how I said that sometimes when Mercury slows down, there's a more of a silence, kind of lull going on in the mind or in our thoughts. We kind of go within maybe. But with Sagittarius being a very expansive sign, a very freedom-oriented sign, liberating sign, inspirational sign, busy, busy, busy sign, because it's mutable. So this seems to suggest there's going to be a lot going on. Now, either there's a lot of information, a lot of messages, a lot of opportunities, a lot of situations and circumstances that you have to juggle, just all coming in, zigzagging in from all directions, which can be overwhelming. So this Eight of Wands might tell us that we're feeling very anxious in our minds and very overwhelmed with everything that is going on right now. And so whether it's actually being activated because of situations that are happening externally, or whether this is just an energy within us where we have to take a moment and breathe. Like that would be the message, I think, underlying this, is just take a breath. Just take a moment, take a time out, take a breath. Because when you breathe, it helps to regulate your nervous system, and it's going to help with any of the overwhelm and all the things that are coming at you or needing to be juggled at this time. Okay, but this can be, again, that there's a lot happening in the way of opportunities coming in and good things, working on creative self-expression, working on creative projects or using your creative self-expression in some way to empower yourself. We've got the heart in the middle, and it's connected to by all the wands, and the wands each have a star at the end of it. So it's almost like your heart feels good. You feel inspired, right? The star to me is this inspiration of hope, and it's all connecting to the heart. So follow your passion, follow what inspires you in the moment. Like if there's a lot of things going on and you have to make like a choice about what you do next or what you do first, always go with what you feel passionate about. All right, so that is the messages for the collective. Let's go ahead and take a look at the special message card depending on your stone of choice. The first stone was the Apple Aura Quartz. Special message for Apple Aura Quartz people. Special message for Apple Aura Quartz people. This one's calling my attention. Oh, I love this card. It's Archangel Uriel with Shine Your Light. And it says at the bottom, thank you. Some people say Uriel. Uriel. Thank you, Uriel, for helping me to shine or share my light with the world. So Archangel Uriel is the archangel to me that kind of rules the higher mental body. It's that, look at that fire, that passion, that light, that's all around him, that golden yellow light, which is the color that he's associated with. And so it reminds me of higher wisdom, higher knowledge, revelations, aha moments, downloads of insights and psychic impressions. And also he can help us with shifting our belief systems, shifting to glass half full mentality rather than glass half empty. And just, being, again, motivated in that mental body. The creative self-expression of the mind comes in. But this is all about, again, shining your light out into the world. So call in Archangel Uriel if you're needing to create something new or collaborate with someone else. And shine your light, be a leader. And this is, to me, it's also like the sun is like success. I mean, if we were to pull the sun card in the tarot, it would mean success and recognition. So as you shine your light out into the world, you're going to be successful. You're going to be recognized for who you are and what you have to offer. So what a beautiful card. Let's put that back in the deck. And the second stone of choice was the Larimar. So we'll give that a little shuffle and we'll ask for the special message for the Larimar people. Larimar, special message for this week. Wow, that one's really sticking up, isn't it? Wow, another archangel. Archangel Shamuel. And this says, open your heart. Open your heart with Archangel Shamuel. And it says, thank you, Shamuel, for removing the barriers around my heart. So this sounds like there's something to do with closing off your heart, protecting your heart. Maybe you've been hurt in the past. Maybe you've been trying to work through healing some old wounds, some old situations, old relationship stuff. It could be old family stuff as well, old stories and patterns from the home and family you grew up in. We got the Star of David on his heart chakra. And the Star of David, you can see it's an upward pointing triangle intersected with a downward pointing triangle. So it makes this very symmetrical and balanced Star of David pattern. So we want to be balanced in our heart. We want to be open to receive and open to give, right? To me, the upward pointing triangle is like, let's give our love out to the world or to people, friends, family. And then the downward pointing triangle is let's receive the love from a higher source and ground it into ourselves. Let's love ourselves as well, have compassion for ourselves. So Archangel Shamuel is the archangel that helps us with soulmate relationships, finding and or healing different relationships in our lives. He's also the archangel that helps us with our life purpose. So you can call on him to assist you with life purpose stuff. All right. Which actually they're saying in life purpose, if you have a barrier around your heart, even if it was a barrier that was created because of a relationship that hurt you, you're still closing off your heart to attract positive things in your destiny path, within your life purpose, your career path, in other aspects of your life as well. So we definitely want to open that heart chakra. And then the last stone of choice is the yellow fluorite. Let's give that a little shuffle. And special message for the week for the yellow fluorite people. This one's calling my attention. Ooh, unconditional love with the Divine Mother. So this, of course, is Mother Mary, the Divine Mother, unconditional love, nurturing, compassion. And this is about self-love and self-compassion and self-nurturing as well as it is for other people, to show that to other people. It says, thank you, Divine Mother, for helping me to give and receive the love I deserve. To give the love and to receive the love that I'm worthy and deserving of. So it feels like there's some inner child healing going on. The Divine Mother is the Divine Mother, so she can hold you, close to her heart. She can send you that love to your inner child, to bring healing to self, just like a mother would to a child. So call her in and ask for that inner child healing, and heal your own inner child too, right? I mean, call her in, but also send your inner child love, compassion, forgiveness, and healing, just like you would a child or a grandchild or a pet, if that's your child. that light blue, right, of her veil around her head. I think some of you are speaking to yourselves in not a very nice manner. So we want to balance that. And we want to use words of kindness towards ourselves. Yes, use words of kindness towards others as well, but use words of kindness towards yourself as well. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this weekly reading. If you haven't already watched the monthly reading for November, please go on to my YouTube channel, Colleen Lemma, and watch that monthly reading. I send you all lots of love and light, many, many blessings, opportunities of abundance and prosperity, I hope, come to you in all shapes and forms in November. And I'll see you again next week. All right, namaste, everyone.